Disclaimer, there will be spoilers mentioned in this video, so if you haven't seen this film and don't want me to give anything away about it, this is your warning to go watch it first and then come back. Also, everything said in this video is just my opinion based off of personal experiences. Feel free to agree or disagree as you wish. After all, this is just a personal critique. Enjoy the video. You know, despite putting on makeup, my eye bags are just so prominent. I haven't been sleeping well. I actually had a nightmare last night that I accidentally hurt an armadillo. Don't question my dreams. Does anyone remember Sky High? Well, I do because I watched it like all the time as a kid. And conveniently, it is the 21st anniversary this week. So let's critique it. Sky High was released on July 29th, 2005. Directed by Mike Mitchell and screenplay written by Paul Hernandez, Bob Schooley, and Mark McCorkle. Starring Michael Angarno as Will Stronghold, aka our main character. Our story starts off with Will giving us a brief summary about Josie, who has the power of flight, and Steve, who has super strength. And their superhero names are Commander and Jetstream. Jetstream's a pretty good name, but Commander? Just Commander? Like, that's it? Okay. These two are basically the most powerful and popular duo of superheroes in the world, because of course they are. But Will actually knows them as just mom and dad, and he himself has to live up to the family name and save the world someday. That's a lot of pressure to put on a 14-year-old, which actually Josie admits later on in the movie. However, here's the catch. Will does not have any powers, and even though he doesn't have any powers whatsoever, he's still going to Sky High, the high school that trains people how to use their powers and to one day become superheroes. So on his first day, he heads to the bus with his best friend, Layla. Love Daniela Panabaker, by the way. So as they ride the bus literally into the sky, because Sky High is literally in the sky, we meet the school bullies and then the student body president, Gwen. And Will is starting to catch some feelings for Gwen, you know? Looks like the 14-year-old already hit puberty. Nope, I'm sorry. Later on, we get to see everyone's powers during orientation, and Coach Boomer decides whether they're students that deserve to be in the hero course or in the sidekick category, aka hero support. We also meet Will's other friend and this guy named Warren Peace. Literally Warren and then Peace. All we need to know about this guy is that he really doesn't like Will because both of their dads fought in the past and his dad is now in prison because of Will's dad. So Will obviously gets put into the sidekick category when everyone finds out that he doesn't have any powers at all. He ends up in the nurse's office because Coach Boomer thought, oh, you're just messing with me. Of course you have powers. I'll just, launch you off the platform and right into the wall so that activates your flight power just like your mom. Yeah, no, he gets injured and goes to the nurse. At the nurse's office, he, talks to the nurse as any human does, but the nurse tells him that he may never get his powers. Real bummer. Embarrassed, he does not tell his parents that he still doesn't have any powers. How he kept that a secret for so long, I have no idea. Especially does not tell them that he is a sidekick. So after a few days of school going through hero support and having fun, I don't know why I said it like that, Will gets the courage to tell his dad about his lack of powers and him being a sidekick. His dad is very angry, so that didn't go well. But Will claims how proud he is about being a sidekick. The next day, after the bullies make Will drop his lunch onto Warren, he sort of starts a fight with Will, and his power is fire. And when he threatens Will's friends, Will suddenly gets his power, which is super strength. So he gets transferred into the hero course. I feel like I'm talking about my hero right now. And he is paired up with Gwen, his little crush. And he also starts hanging out with the seniors. They're not so nice to Will's other friends. And Will tries to make it up to Layla, especially by wanting to take her out to dinner. We'll come back to that later. In the meantime, we then get to see Warren and Will working together and playing Save the Citizen against the bullies. And not so surprisingly, they win. And after school, instead of going to see Layla, he hangs out with Gwen. That's not where you're supposed to be, my guy. So while Layla gets stood up, she instead talks to Warren, who happens to work at the restaurant. And then we learn that he's actually nice sometimes. Yeah, I have to admit, while watching this movie, nowadays, Warren is definitely my type. I think when I was a kid, I had a crush on Will, but nowadays, I would definitely say that Warren is my type. Let's move on. So to get back at Will for ditching her at the restaurant and also asking Gwen to the homecoming dance when Layla clearly has a crush on Will, like how could he be so insensitive about that? Layla asks Warren to the dance to make Will jealous. Gwen and Will get closer together by forcing a party onto Will. Like Gwen just invites a whole bunch of people when Will just said no. She does it anyways. Gwen also tells Will that she just wants to be alone with him. Well, maybe you shouldn't have invited all of the high school. What the heck? In order to be alone, he brings her to the secret sanctum. And it's just like their basement where they have like a whole bunch of dangerous weapons as like trophies to like symbolize what adventures they went on. So anyways, and that's when they have their like first kiss. But one of the weapons gets stolen while they're kissing. And then Gwen tells Layla off by saying that Will never cared about her and that she's stupid, basically, like to make it short. And Will finds out about this and is very upset with Gwen for telling Layla off. And so he breaks up with Gwen, and Gwen is very upset about this. He also tries to contact Layla to like apologize, but Layla still hates him. So it's now the night of the homecoming dance. Everyone's dressed up, having fun, except Will, because he decided not to go. Okay, so everyone is claiming that Will is like just a huge jerk. And okay, I will admit a little bit, but he's not that much of a jerk as like other jerks I've come to know in my lifetime. I mean, yeah, him ditching Layla, yeah, that's a jerk move and he should, you know, be punished for that. That party was forced onto Will and he had no sense of Will, basically. So I don't know. I feel like he's not too much of a jerk. He's just a little bit. Will figures out that Gwen is actually a villain who stole one of the weapons, aka the pacifier, and he makes his way to Sky High. Meanwhile, Gwen is turning everyone into babies. That's why it's literally called the pacifier. So Will's friends like escape and they fight off the bullies. And we learn from Gwen's supervillain speech that her plan is to take all of the students, heroes, and Commander and Jetstream especially away while they're all babies, making her rule over the heroes, I guess. I don't know. And Will goes to defeat Gwen, but finds out that she herself was hit with the pacifier and was turned into a baby, making her really old. And Will's reaction to this is,
oh my gosh, I made out with an old lady.
But while Layla is fighting this girl named Penny, she finds out that Gwen is going to make the school fall to the ground and that they only have 10 minutes to disable that like bomb. So Magenta, one of Will's friends that can turn into a guinea pig, goes to the generator to chew on the wire, disabling the anti-gravity thingy, and the school is fine. Also, I forgot to mention this, while fighting Gwen, Will got shot out of the sky but discovered he can fly. So yeah, he has 2 powers now, so the nurse was wrong. He and his friends successfully saved Sky High, making them heroes instead of sidekicks. And the weapon was officially destroyed. Layla and Will get together. Gwen and her posse got thrown into prison, and they all lived happily ever after. So now I will be giving my overall thoughts and rating this movie out of 5 stars. So I have always loved this movie as a kid, and watching it as an adult, I still love it. Yeah, it's a little cheesy at times. It is a kid's movie. I honestly didn't see anything wrong with it either. If anything, I seriously wish we had more movies like this nowadays, especially revolving around high school. To be honest, we have way too many like movies and series that just revolve around superheroes and superpowers. They never did it like this movie. You just can't beat this movie. And honestly, it does remind me a lot of My Hero Academia, which is one of my favorite animes. They both have such similar concepts, and I think that's what makes them so good. I give this movie 5 stars. Wow, 2 in a row. Can you believe it? The writing was pretty good. The pacing was nice and quick. Acting was great. There's a hair that's out of place. Special effects were fantastic. And I seriously loved the music. I mean, it was all like 80s and early 2000s music. Who doesn't love that? First scene of the movie started off with the song Everybody Wants to Rule the World by Tears for Fears. I mean, come on. That's literally one of my favorites. If you start off any movie with that banger, the movie's gonna be great. I will say, when I was a kid, a part of me did think that high school was going to be like this regarding like the bullying level. Not too much though. I don't think I ever saw like anyone getting like a swirly, but I wasn't always there. But also another part of me knew that I wouldn't have a high school like this because, you know, it doesn't have supernatural people. However, I do think it played really nicely into high school drama, actually dealing with status. It wasn't your typical popular kids versus the outcasts. I mean, it was, but in a different take. It mainly focused on certain individuals and not the entire school, which is a bit more realistic. And overall, I still love this movie. So thank you guys so much for watching this week's critique. I hope you have enjoyed it. Once again, let me know any recommendations you have in the comments below, and I will see you guys at our next film or Cowan critique. Bye!